Welcome back to the Engineered Impact Podcast. I'm Dan Korth, and today I wanted to follow up on a concept that we started talking about a few episodes ago, and that was that you as an individual tend to reflect the character and the behaviors of those that you surround yourself with. And so we talked about, in order to be successful, we want to surround ourselves with people that are successful, people that are what we want to be, people that do the things that we want to do. And we talked about things like once you identify who those kinds of people are, and maybe they're people that you hang out with at work, maybe it's people that are around locally. But one of the really cool things about the era that we live in is that it's so easy to spend significant amounts of time with people that it would otherwise be really hard to get access to, right? And we can do that through taking courses, reading people's books, joining mastermind groups that they're part of, in addition to just spending time with people that we actually have access to. What I wanted to go through today is one of the easiest ways to do that, to really tap into the genius of humanity, and that's through books. Okay, so the way I wanted to kind of just dive into this topic, and if you watch the videos, I always record in front of my bookshelf, right? And I love books so much. I look at my bookshelf and it feels like trophies, because every book on there is something that I've learned from someone smart that took the time to record everything they knew about a subject and put it in a book, and I got to take it and absorb that. Okay, and so I wanted to talk about why books are so powerful, and just share some examples of how they've been powerful in my life. Okay, and one of the things that I love about books is that they outlive people, right? I can tap into the genius of humanity literally from thousands of years ago, as well as people that are living today. And so I want to just quickly share a couple of examples of how that's worked out in my life. Okay, so I've shared a couple of times how, way back when I started kind of my journey towards who I am today, I got to a point where I was very I don't want to use the word depressed, but I was just in a dark place, right? I was just weighed down by all of the corruption and the stupidity and what just felt like a world full of insurmountable problems that was falling apart, right? And I felt like there's nothing good happening, and we were all just waiting for the world to spontaneously combust, right? And I'd started to come out of that kind of in 2013. I stopped listening to politics, and I turned off talk radio on my commute, and I started listening to audiobooks, and I started learning about things, and it was really good. And it pulled me out of that funk. But through all that, I still kind of had this underlying sense that just doom and gloom, right? Just things were bad, things were awful in the world, and I found a book in 2013 that changed all of that for me, and really kind of set me on the path that I'm on today. Okay, that book was called Abundance: The Future is Better Than You Think, and it was written by a guy named Peter Diamandis and Stephen Kotler. Okay, what I loved about that book is, first off, these guys are techies. Like it is a very data-driven book, but the whole book is about how we are living in literally the most incredible period of human history. Okay, and that despite everything that we hear on the news, everything's actually pretty awesome. There are more people with access to food today. There are more people with access to clean water. There are more people with access to electricity, to banking services, to healthcare. Lifespans are going. I mean, everything is so good when you look at the data that things are just getting better and better and better every year, every decade. Things are getting more and more incredible. And a huge piece of that is these exponential technologies that are allowing, things that we've enjoyed in Western civilizations for a long time. They're taking those things and making them accessible to people that in places that have historically been impoverished, and life has just been miserable. And as I read this book, it's like a fire hose of data that I just couldn't deny, right? Of just how amazing everything is today. And it totally shifted my perspective. Okay. Now, does that mean the corruption's not there, and the government debt's not there, and, falling wages aren't there? No, all of that stuff is obviously still there. But that's not the thing that we should be focused on. What we should be focused on is all of the things that are good, and how can we become part of that? right? Now, these same two guys wrote a follow-up book called Bold, and it's all about entrepreneurs that are largely engineers, people in STEM fields that are harnessing these exponential technologies and going and serving the billions of people that have never had access to some of the things that they're getting access to today, like clean water and food and healthcare and financial services. And I read this book and I was like, holy cow, not only is everything awesome, but engineers are doing incredible things and making a huge difference in people's lives all around the world. And I started to think, why I should be doing this, right? I'm an engineer. I spent 9 years. It's kind of embarrassing. I only got 2 degrees out of it, but I spent 9 years getting 2 engineering degrees. I've got, at the time it was, I don't know, 6 years of engineering experience. I should go start looking at this stuff, right? And so I did. I started looking around and trying to figure out where are some of these technologies that I could get into. All right. Now I'm an aerospace engineer. I love airplanes. I've loved airplanes since I was 2 years old. My dad was a pilot. And so I started looking around, and I was on, this is kind of funny now that I think about it, but I was on a flight for work one day. I was flying from Atlanta to Seattle. Okay. One corner of the country to the other. It was like a 5-hour flight. I was crammed into the back seat against the window right in front of the lavatory where you've got like that much leg room, right? So I'm sitting like this for 5 hours and I'm reading The Spirit of St. Louis. That's all about, the first flight from New York to Paris, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm super uncomfortable. And somewhere in the back of my mind is, as I'm reading this story, I'm thinking, this is awesome. Here was an entrepreneur. Here was an explorer that was doing awesome things in airplanes, right? And I'm thinking about this Bold book and what I could be doing. And it occurred to me, it's stupid that in, let's see, what year is this? I think 2018, 2017 maybe. It still takes me 5 hours to fly from Atlanta to Seattle. And I thought, whatever happened to the Concorde? We should have a supersonic airplane, dang it. It's 2017. I'm going to go make a supersonic airplane. And so I started looking around. Turns out somebody was already doing it, right? And so I started looking into it, started making some contacts at a couple different companies. There are multiple companies that were looking into this. But I realized I was in kind of a tight spot, right? Because I have a family, I've got kids, I needed some security. All of these companies were in places with high cost of living. And I realized that I couldn't financially afford to go be a part of these dreams, right? And that bothered me a lot. And that was one of the things that really started to fuel me in terms of financial freedom. Now I've been playing with it at that point, right? I wanted to be free. I kind of had my 10-year game plan, but that really fueled my fire because now I had a purpose beyond just having money, right? Was I thought, if I were financially free, if I had the income, it would be much easier for me to pick up, move to a higher cost area and go make whatever they would pay me as a startup to go participate in something like this, right? So I highlight that because these books written by real people sharing data, real-time data from today, made an enormous impact in my perspective on the world, and then my perspective, what I could do, what I could contribute as someone who'd taken the time, made the sacrifice, dared to go out and get an engineering degree, something that the vast majority of the population would never do. I was realizing I could have a huge part in making a big impact on the world, right? The fact that we're sitting here listening to a podcast called Engineered Impact that's designed to help engineers understand how they can be financially free so they can go be these kinds of people is a direct result of my reading these 2 books. Okay. So that's just one result of my reading these books of modern day people. Okay. Now let's go back a few decades. Okay. Another book I read had a huge impact on me was a book called Think and Grow Rich. Okay. I love this book because, again, the thing I love about a book is it takes everything somebody's learned about a topic and puts it in one place where I can go read it, right? Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, spent 25 years getting to know and develop personal relationships with 500 of the most important, influential, successful people of his era, okay? Late 1800s, early 1900s. And he took everything he learned from all of these people like Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie, Thomas Edison. I mean, just brilliant, successful people. And he packed everything that he learned about the patterns that these 500 successful people followed into a small book called Think and Grow Rich, and revealed the secret of what all these people had in common, right? And how they approached the world, how they in their minds create what they want and then go out and make it happen in the real world. Okay. That was a revolutionary idea to me, that I could create in my head what I wanted. And then it was just a matter of making that happen in the real world. And he walks through the process that they do to get that, how these people got those results that they created in their head. Just mind blowing stuff. Right. And it made me realize that I could have whatever I wanted by believing it and then doing the things that I had to do to get those things. Okay. So again, just a book that is absolutely incredible. You can pack that much wisdom into something this size. Okay. And I apologize to those of you listening to the audio, you can't see it, but it's a pretty small book, but just packed with ageless wisdom. Okay. Now, the third one I wanted to highlight, and I love this, is the book, The Art of War, by a general named Sun Tzu, who was a general in one of the ancient Chinese dynasties. Okay. This book is 2,500 years old. For 2,500 years, the lessons that this guy learned over the course of a lifetime of successfully fighting wars that he packed into a book have been passed down 25 centuries. Okay. If that's not enough evidence that what's in there is intellectual gold, go pick up the book and read it. Okay. It's an easy book. Now, what I love about it, this is a text that is probably, on every MBA's bookshelf anywhere. Right. But what I love about it is the lessons that he shares about warfare are so applicable to so many aspects of life, right? Yes, it's applicable to fighting wars. It's applicable to business. The thing that blew me away when I read this book is that over and over and over again, I saw ways that I could be a better parent. Okay. As he was talking about building relationships with his soldiers and fighting your adversaries and things like that, I learned things about how to build trust with my kids, about how to interact with my kids so that they had trust in me to do the things that I was teaching them they needed to do. Okay. I learned aspects of how to communicate with them so that we didn't have an adversarial relationship. Okay. Never expected that. I went into it looking for the business wisdom, but over and over again came out with parenting wisdom. Okay. So that's just a third example and what I love about that is, again, the fact that this wisdom has endured for 2,500 years. I get to go back and I get to tap into this guy's genius from 2,500 years ago, right? And there's multiple examples of that. You can go read the Odyssey from an ancient Greek. You can read, I can't think of the guy's name, the guy that Euclid that came up with geometry, right? You can go back and learn about the thought processes that these people went through, the experiences they had, and how they applied those to their lives, okay? So those are three examples of many, many, many books that have had a significant impact on my life. The takeaway for you today is, if you are not a voracious reader, I encourage you, I implore you to start picking up books on a regular basis, whether they're physical books, whether you get an audio or an Audible subscription and start listening to books on your commute, whatever it is, while you're running, biking, whatever it is. When you have time, turn off talk radio, turn off anything that's not making you smarter, that's not helping you become the person that you want to be, and go find a book that's about something that you see lacking in your life, or something that you want to learn, something that will make you better. Because by picking up that book, odds are you are tapping into the genius of another human being. You're getting their experience. You're getting the experience that they've gleaned from other people, and it will make you a better person. Now, I can't promise that every book is going to fundamentally change your life the way these books have for me, but some of them will. Okay, you'll walk away from everything at least learning something, but some of these books will have a significant impact on who you are, on how you live your life, on your energy and your willingness to go out and do great things. Okay, so that is my plea to you. That is my encouragement to you today, is that this is one of the easiest ways to tap into the genius of humanity, and I encourage you to go out and take advantage of it today.